everybody, and welcome to Train World TV. And we want to welcome everyone tonight for a special, amazing, action-packed night. It is the Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver special event, along with Lionel, Kato, Atlas, Athern, and Tony Cook from Model Railroad News. And type in the chat where you're joining us from tonight. We want to see all those states and different countries where everyone's joining us from tonight. And before we get into the show, we'll, I guess, probably have to do a around the horn introduction because I don't want to mess anything up. But we do want to invite you to more shows like this. So make sure you're signed up for the trainworld.com email sales. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and sign up for TW Text if you got that text beforehand. I know it's working, so all that good stuff. But let's go around the horn and introduce ourselves. I'm Ken Jr. from trainworld.com, and we'll go, I guess, to the, depending which way you're looking at, to the middle, to the next of me, Lionel.
Hi, everybody. Ryan Kunkel, Director of Project Management for Lionel.
Rachel.
Rachel Molly, Executive Director of Operation Lifesaver. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, you. Drew, if you want to go.
Drew, Sales Manager at Atlas.
All right. Barbara.
I am with Amtrak System Safety and Security.
Sounds official.
I thought so. I added the word.
She is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We've got security here tonight. I think this may be a first for us, Ken, that we had to have security.
We may need it.
It's a big show. I'm Tony Cook, editor of Model Railroad News and HO Collector and Diesel Era magazine for White River Productions.
All right. And Jim.
Yes, Jim Wiggin. Thanks for having me on board. Associate Brand Manager for Athern, and just fresh within a few hours of my latest Amtrak trip. So I'm excited to be here tonight.
All right.
Oh, that's awesome. And Mike?
Hi, everyone. As Ken Jr. mentioned, my name is Michael Conway. I'm Head of Sales and Marketing at Kato USA. I'm pretty excited to be here.
All right.
And, I'm Matt Donnelly with Amtrak in the marketing department. Happy to be back on the show. Thank you, Ken.
All right. Thanks for joining us again. And last time it was an amazing, tremendous event. So I expect nothing less. And we have a lot to talk about, especially about this spectacular engine. But just a basic rundown of how it's going to go tonight. We're going to talk about Operation Lifesaver, its mission and 50th, Amtrak's partnership to promote that by the way of the 203 engine, Amtrak's other efforts that further the OLI mission, and the importance of the 3 E's. Type in the chat if you know what the 3 E's are ahead of time. The overhaul process and behind the scenes time lapse of the 203 being painted, which is pretty unique, different, and pretty excited to see that myself. And then we're going to go into the manufacturers releasing their models of the 203. Athearn will be first, Kato, Lionel, and Atlas. And last but not least, Tony Cook from Model Railroad News will do a recap and close it off. And we also have a couple of raffles for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned, stay watching, and I guess share this off to all your friends. This way you have some more chances to win those raffles. And before we get into it, we'll just show a couple of guys of where we're all from. We have New Jersey in the house, San Diego, California. Lots of different states here. Oregon, Massachusetts.
I saw Aruba, Ken.
Aruba. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I want to be.
We all want to be over there. Texas. So great to see everyone. And we are going to kick it off, and we'll start it off with Operation Lifesaver.
Great. Again, thank you so much for having me on the show again. It's always terrific to be here and with our partners. And as I see everyone scrolling, I recognize many names as our partners and our volunteers. We really thank and appreciate everything that you all do in getting the rail safety message out. For those of you that don't know us, we're a national nonprofit getting the rail safety message out. We have programs in 46 states as well as the District of Columbia, trying to keep people safe around trains and tracks, and our safety partners such as Amtrak are instrumental in getting the rail safety message out. This locomotive that we're going to talk about is beautiful, and it is our moving billboard around the country with C-Tracks Think Train. So I'll kick it back to you, Ken Jr.
All right, very nice. And I guess that being said, maybe we should just show a picture off, sneak peek, and then we'll kick it over to Amtrak. But let's just take a look here. This way everybody knows the engine, the famous engine that we're talking about. And this is the Operation Lifesaver.
It is so beautiful.
Beautiful. Really nice.
I
think that's your shot, Matt, right? Isn't this your photography, Matt?
Not all of them. That one is, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say if you get an opportunity to see it, definitely go see it. It is stunning in person. It is traveling around the country, and we're working closely with Barb and Matt. As it's in stations with layovers, we're doing events, we're engaging our state coordinators and our OLOVs and rail safety partners around the country. So stay tuned. And if you want to join us in getting the rail safety message out, follow us on any of our social media or go to oli.org and sign up to volunteer.
Yeah, and also our last show, we did a great segment on rail safety, and it was so interesting, and there were so many fun tips. And Tony, you were on that show, and you picked up even yourself. You know everything about trains, and you even picked up a couple of things.
It's awesome stuff and things you don't always think about. And it's fun to get this kind of communication with Operation Lifesaver, because I think, as I said that night, we see the locomotives, and I'm sure we have them in our collection, and it's fun to see them rail fanning. But then to learn more about the organization is really awesome. So yeah, and this is, I think, about everybody here has got one of these coming in some scale. This 203 is really popular. I think I saw today it was on the eastbound Train 8, the Empire Builder, heading back to Chicago. So if anybody was out rail fanning today in the northern part of the U.S., you might have had a chance to see it. I haven't got to see it yet.
Oh, Tony.
I went out and tried my luck this weekend, but no, the Sunset Limited did not have it this weekend. So, and I've not seen it in Kansas City, so I'm still waiting.
You are correct. My husband has told me he is with Amtrak operations. He's a huge big deal at Amtrak. Shout out to Dave Smith, who's watching. He said it came in on Train 8. You were absolutely correct. It's in Chicago. Came in on Trail. So when I said to him, if I could just jump in with this little nugget of nonsense, when I said to him, honey, it's coming in on Trail because they're trying to protect it, right? They're keeping it safe. It doesn't bugs, nothing. And he said, honey, never say that out loud, ever, to anyone. No, that's not what's happening.
We'll keep the secret safe, Barb. No worry.
Thank you very much. Everybody keep that quiet. But I have to echo what everybody said about this locomotive, and that is, it is a showstopper. And I'm not a Facebook person. I don't follow. But since this locomotive has come to be, I am now all over Facebook watching what the fans are posting about it. And what we love the most, Ken Jr., is nobody's saying, hey, there's the Amtrak train. That's an Amtrak train. They're calling it the Operation Lifesaver train, which means every time that locomotive is mentioned, there's those two words, Operation Lifesaver, and there's a rail safety message attached. So that to me is mission accomplished. And I couldn't be more happy about that.
Yeah, and we are so appreciative of that. And the message that keeps getting put out there to not just rail fans who go out to see it, but people driving around doing their errands, waiting for a train, taking the train to their next destination. It is such an eye-catching locomotive. I also am married to a rail fan, and a shout out to Steve there. He's watching it downstairs on the big screen. And,
All right,
he
Steve.
loves
Hey,
this. He
Steve.
thinks it's beautiful. And I know that he's ordered
Yeah.
many of these locomotives from all of you that I'm on screen with. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in our house, as well as the train traveling around the country.
Yeah, that's great. And Matt, you're a modeler yourself, and what do you think about this paint scheme?
I think it's great. The premise to do an Operation Lifesaver locomotive like this, right? Which, I consider this like a full takeover. It's not just an Operation Lifesaver decal or sticker, to honor Operation Lifesaver. It is literally from the ground up a purposeful scheme or livery for promoting the message of safety. And a lot of it, the timing was just perfect with the Operation Lifesaver 50th anniversary. Kind of is an extra shot in the arm to help get this through, and all the credit goes to I feel Barb and the OL team to make this a reality, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. We worked with the same awesome folks at Amtrak and the rolling stock engineering team, Blair, Seth, John, Christian, and the team in Wilmington that I worked with for the 50th anniversary to come up with those special liveries. This was fun because it was something, it wasn't like we were recreating something from the past or adapting it. It was, here's a blank slate. What can we do? And this design was honestly the wildest, most outside of the box iteration of our favorites, right? We usually come up with about 3 to 5 favorites to bring forward to leadership and the other stakeholders to say, hey, let's discuss and talk about it. And the fear, Barb, remember, was that, oh no, this one's so cool, but it's a little far out there. People are going to get, maybe a little gun shy on it, and just kind of go with a more safe option. And
Matt,
that
it
was
was worse than that. It was worse than that, Matt. You recall when we look at this design, Matt and I, we look at each other, we both lose it when we see this. We're like, oh my gosh, this has to be it. And we're like, please let OL love this one. And thank God they did. But when we ran it up the flagpole to leadership, Matt, you and I were like, this is not going to fly. It's not going to work. It got to our president and CEO. God bless him. Wow. He comes back, and the two of us are shuddering. We're like, oh. And he says, hey, the only thing he says is, can you make the Amtrak logo just a little bit bigger on the nose? And I'm like, are you not seeing the yellow and the black? Did you miss this? We were giddy, right?
Yeah.
And Rachel, were we all not giddy about this?
That's right. And I thought the R was for Rachel, right? I thought that was special. But it's, we'll work with it for Railroad too, right?
So I also want to give a shout out to our talented team at Beech Grove in Indiana. Well, they're the folks that take the ideas that we come up with in drawings and make them a reality. And this was kind of like not out of nowhere, but essentially this was a locomotive that was in the schedule to go through overhaul. The plan, we do so many per year as part of a overall fleet program of maintenance, and everything typically gets our standard scheme, right? And I think everyone was breathing a sigh of relief after getting the 50th anniversary, 5, special P42s. That's a lot, to go through and get them out the door. And then it was, wait a minute, here's one more idea that we've got and that we would like to work on. And everyone was very excited, and they really took their time with adapting that. It's called a railroad crossing warning sign, the circular yellow and black, with the X, to put that around the front of an angular P42, is kind of, I didn't think it was going to work that well at first when we were talking about it. The idea was, let's do something with a super graphic, really big. And it was John Skalski that did the adaptation for this, and he made it work great. And then Beech Grove not only took that model, right, that was drawn up, but they literally by hand masked off with tape the separation between the yellow and the black, including that at the edge, where there's a black circle with the yellow before the rest of the locomotive. To do that on so many different irregular surfaces, and also so close in the paint booth, imagine it's kind of like being in a little enclosed garage. You can maybe step back from that locomotive, maybe 3 steps would be a lot. You're kind of really up close on it into, taping this thing off. You don't get a chance to step back 15 to 20 feet to say, is this, really where I want this line to go? And this thing, I was fortunate enough to get one of those little cherry picker, type, gizmos where you can just drive it around, you go up and down and all that. And I'm looking at this from different angles when we first had it visit Washington, D.C. And the execution, especially where it comes to a point up on the top of the roof, which almost no one will see, is awesome. They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, they did. Huge thanks to the Beech Grove team.
Yeah, it actually reminds me, it's like those TV shows for the cars where they kind of customize the cars with the graphics and they do all this amazing stuff. And it's really tremendous now because we're really getting into an age where, with these graphics with Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver, it just brought this train to a whole nother dimension and level. And the graphics are just unbelievable.
Thanks. And even the R, which is not for Rachel, but on the locomotive, that is a black reflective decal. So actually at night, if you ever are, all the C tracks, think train is reflective, all the white is reflective, including the perspective of the tracks on the nose, for maximum visibility when it's going through the middle of America, right? Aside from just the red sill stripe at the bottom. I haven't seen it at night, but I imagine it would look really cool. Just, with all that retro reflectivity on it, look pretty cool. So, and somebody I saw in the chat asked where they would see it, how they would go about seeing it. So it is part of our national fleet pool that is non-access equipped. And if anyone knows their train stuff, they'll know what that is. If not, it determines what type of train control system it can, territory it has to run on. So it will be running on the majority of our system, and it is on an as-needed basis. So currently, like Tony was saying, out in the Empire Builder, but that doesn't mean it couldn't get taken off in Chicago and then go down to New Orleans, or when it gets to Seattle, it could then go down to LA. It's going to be making its way all around the system, and hopefully in the future, if there's any events and needs for public display, we'll be able to make it available for those opportunities, which would be promoted. But typically we don't know with much warning where a locomotive will be, just depending upon operational needs and what needs to be pulled for service, what locomotive needs to go here and there, and there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff that goes into the planning of a locomotive's next move.
And Matt, just to play off of that, it's running on the Amtrak regional and long distance service, with the exception of the Northeast corridor between Boston and Washington, also the Keystone line and the Empire line. So that kind of gives everybody a little bit of an idea if you're going to see it or not. But very excited about the fact that we have had some press interest in it, and it's appearing at a couple of different press conferences. It's going to be in Denver at ILCAD, which is the International Level Crossing Awareness Day. Rachel, keep me straight on that. And Rachel's going to have a press conference out there in Denver for the 203 to be on hand. So we're really excited that, we're getting to move it around a little bit during this 50th, because this is when we want to strike when the iron is hot in terms of getting the rail safety message out. So what everybody is doing on this show alone is enough to just make us silly excited, because this is what it's all about in terms of getting to the masses. And that's
right. And speaking of the rail safety message, just so the audience knows if they're not aware, Operation Lifesaver is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated toward safety, right? Reducing and, or if possible, eliminating trespasser incidents, grade crossing accidents, And the message is really for everybody. I've been an authorized volunteer for, I believe, over a decade now. I'm not exactly sure what year offhand that I started, but it's something that's near and dear to any railroader's heart,
Yep.
right? I mean, all the major railroads are involved with Operation Lifesaver because it's something that benefits all of us, right? Nobody wants to see a tragedy or an accident, to be involved with it either firsthand or even have to read about it. It definitely, when you think about that, if there is one, it affects somebody's family, right? That's somebody's relative. It's definitely something we want to see go away. And so with this locomotive, it is the fantastic billboard to provide awareness for what this is. And Operation Lifesaver offers free presentations. You go on their website, oli.org, and you can request, through your state coordinator, somebody to come and speak to your group, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a classroom. It can be any group. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. The services are for free. It's all volunteers that go about and do this. And if you are interested in being a part of that, in promoting the safety message, there's also a way on the website to get involved and become a volunteer yourself. So I encourage folks to do that if they're so inclined.
Yeah. And Matt, also, we've got the Rail Safety Pledge available on the website right now for everyone to just take it, as well as to have the children in your family and in your lives take it. We have an adult pledge and a children's pledge as well.
Those are the pledges there. And we also have been getting some questions. Barbara, they love your shirt. They want to know where to get your shirt.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? I have to tell you, this was another fun thing. We have little stickers too, Ken Jr. I'm telling you, they're absolutely adorable. But you can get these, Matt, right, on the Amtrak website. We're a little bit short on sizes. Can we get more, Matt? That was my question to you. Can we get more?
So
bigger sizes?
We had sizes small through XXX when the locomotive was launched, and I'm not sure there's going to be any more. We have small and medium currently on the site. So unfortunately, just due to the way, there's a lot of different interests and routes and things, and we just can't stock everything. We try to keep everything fresh. So I won't say no, but there's no plans right now to bring those shirts back, just based on, it is an awesome design. It's got, the actual technical drawing of the locomotive. It's got the Amtrak and OL 50th logos and even the American flag on the sleeve. So if a small or medium will work for you, I encourage you to go check that out. But possibly in the future, it's just nothing that's going to happen anytime soon. But great question.
And my question also was, where can you get that crossing gate for your house?
Do you love it? Okay, my husband and I made this in the garage with pieces that you can find anywhere. We got the railroad crossing in a model shop. And
is there a railroad crossing missing its crossbuck somewhere, Barb?
No, Matt. But wait. Here's the best part. What is this over here, folks? Look what I'm pointing to. What's this?
The ENS sign.
Yep. With the contact number.
With an ENS sign on my wall. And we made this for a project that I did when I was in safety. I took this on the train in New Orleans for a project. We made two of them. I have one here and we have one downstairs in our train room. But it's a lot of fun, and I had no place to put it since I'm now working from home. So I had to stick it right there on the wall.
That's great.
That's
Awesome.
Thank you for noticing it. Do you see my pillow too over here? Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Okay.
That's great. And just so everybody knows, on the store.amtrak.com, they do have that fresh swag, I guess they call it, merchandise, and that's that Operation Lifesaver. Really nice T-shirt. Really cool. That's
Thank
perfect.
you. Thank you. I saw somebody also asked about an ACS 64. And there are no plans for an electric. There are only a small handful of crossings on the Northeast Corridor. We picked a P42 because of a few reasons. One was the 203 was the next to go through the paint booth. It was getting paint anyways, right? So it was very efficient for us as far as our fleet of locomotives that, you know, we weren't taking one out of service that wasn't supposed to come out of service. It was already lined up for that. And the P42 that we chose, being that it's a non-access unit, would get to California, which is unfortunately consistently the #1 state for the most deaths involving trains. So not necessarily Amtrak, but any type of train. So we felt getting the message where it's most needed was the important thing to do. So that is our one and only. There are currently no plans to do additional locomotives, but we do hope to have that out there at various events for the years to come that'll be in this paint scheme.
And you know what else we hope to have too, Ken Jr., is we hope to have this locomotive running for maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know, as long as Amtrak's going to keep the P42s.
Wow.
We're hoping this runs, and we even put in our little budget, when it's no longer the 50th, we're going to take that 50th decal off, and we're going to put up another OL decal so that we're not going to be out of date, out of sync. But we'll also have a budget for 2 new noses if we have any kind of an incident as well. So we're hoping that the longevity of this loco is going to be at least another 5 to 8 years. Does that sound right, Matt? 5 to 8?
Probably. I mean, there's a lot that's, determines this. The P42 fleet will be ultimately replaced by the ALC 42 locomotives, which are now in service, and we've got more and more coming online. But, typically the locomotives that are going through overhaul now will be the ones to last the longest, right? But I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Hopefully, it has a very long life on the Amtrak active roster, and people will be able to get to see it for many years. But yeah, up to, I'd say 5 to 8 is something that would be possible. And Barb, are you going to paint your wall black and take that decal off and put it in your house when it comes off? Or what's
you give me
on?
Good ideas. You give me very good ideas. That could be next. And also, fun facts on the 203, if I can, because I researched this and I feel like I should say it. My Dave researched it. This locomotive was built November 2001. It has almost 4 million miles on it, right? And it's putting on each month somewhere between 10 and 15,000 miles a month. So it's running all over the place. That's why I'm hoping that folks that are looking for it are going to see it, because it's certainly out there and making its mark on the country.
Yeah, and it's just such a wonderful visual way of getting that rail safety message out. And we can't thank our partners in Amtrak and Barb and Matt enough. So thank you again.
That's great. And I guess, did we cover the 3 E's?
No, I think you asked if people knew what they were, but I haven't seen anyone put it out there.
Yes. Does anyone? I guess this could be the first raffle. Tony has another raffle that you guys got to stay tuned to the end of the show. But if anyone can figure out the 3 E's, they will get this beautiful Lionel Amtrak boxcar.
Nice.
Whoa,
nice.
Anniversary. So type in the chat the 3 E's and put in we have your name, but state where you're located, and we'll pick out a winner, or we'll let Matt pick out a winner.
Dave, get in there. Oh, sorry. Steve.
You mean he doesn't have it already, Barb?
I know, both of them doing it.
All right. So Matt, do you want to? Maybe we should wait a little till a couple more people answer.
Ken Jr., will you be able to show the time lapse?
Yes, that's a good idea, Barbara.
Just because I don't know if anyone has ever seen a locomotive getting painted. This to me was just really super cool. If you can play it, I hope you can play it. Oh, there it is.
Let's show that now while we're waiting.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, like this locomotive spent time over in the main shop where they do body work to it. They got to then scuff it up. What they're doing right now is applying primer to the locomotive after they've got various things like the lights masked off, all the window glazing is removed, right? So they get it primered up. And then after that, they apply the different colors. So here's the yellow going on to the locomotive. Then they have to let it dry. And then after that cures enough, then they'll apply the masking to do subsequent colors. So here we go. So you got the masking over the nose. They tape it off. And there comes the masking off. And you really don't know 100% of what you're getting until you peel all that masking off, right? I mean, it takes a lot of precise taping to get this. And then of course the decals, like the letters and the numbers, are essentially overgrown stickers. They're decals. But I mean, this is, to me, it's very satisfying watching this stage of it, right? Because that's when it all comes together. And you can just tell that locomotive, the masking job on this one is just fantastic. The folks at Beech Grove do wonderful work.
And we had all kinds of conference calls about the type of paint for this locomotive. Yeah. I wanted something I thought that could be a little retro reflective on the nose, that yellow. And then we were told you can't have that because it's heavy. There's beads and that kind of paint, and it would run. And so that was interesting. So we couldn't go with that style of paint because of that factor, the running factor, because once those lines blur, it's a mess. And certainly we avoided that by having some people with a lot of expertise weigh in on how the paint should even be applied and which paint to use.
Yeah, and you see what I'm talking about. You can't step too far back from the locomotive here. I mean, you can see the person there. There's not a ton of space. So to be able to mask, I mean, you just think about, something that is over a story tall. Like, that is a big vehicle, and to mask off those lines without a template, right? I mean, it was just fantastic. They're just going by a drawing. They did a great job.
They did.
Wow.
It's unbelievably beautiful.
Especially like right there, going up around the corner of the roof. The roof itself is curved, and then there's several different angles, flat surfaces, leading up to that curve around the edges. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's not like you're just doing it on a wall, right? Like a billboard. This is a 3D object that's got some really weird contours to it.
And then when it came out of the shop, Rachel and I were back and forth emailing about how somebody saw it come out in Beech Grove, and we were all disappointed. We didn't want anybody to see it.
Right.
And they said, this isn't real. Can anyone tell us if this is real? This is Photoshop. Right. And so, and then I got on the phone with Matt, and I said, Matt, they're on Facebook. They're saying it's Photoshop. It's not real. So they're like, it was hysterical, right? Trying to confirm that, yes, indeed. So I think we even had a surprise for the rail fans too, which made my heart feel good.
Yeah,
it was. I remember when we talked on the phone that night, because there's some very talented Photoshop artists out there that like to poke fun and make jokes of fantasy paint schemes, and it's easy enough these days to do something where if it's believable enough, people run with it. But yeah, there was an actual photo of it, and people were saying, "Nah, it's not real. It's Photoshop."
Yeah,
no, it is real.
Yeah.
That's great. And look how large that engine is. I mean, I'm used to dealing with model trains, so when you see a picture of an actual train with the real image, it's like, wow, that's gigantic.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's gigantic and beautiful, and traveling around the country, and it is really impressive to see. Barb and I were there when it pulled into Union Station in DC, and it was stunning. It looked different than anything else on that platform, and it was really eye-catching to the non-rail fan and to the rail fan.
Yeah,
that's right. And when we talk about 203, that's the road number over here. C tracks, think train. The R, not for Rachel, but for rail safety. And that's your classic Operation Lifesaver. Just really gorgeous paint scheme.
Yeah.
And with that note, Matt, do you want to throw in the 3 E's?
Yeah, so it's education, enforcement, and engineering.
All right. We had a couple of winners. and we will pick someone out here. And we got actually a bunch of people got it. So they must have paid attention, Rachel. You would be proud.
That's good. I'm happy to see that.
That's awesome.
I also noticed that my husband's name's not there because I told him he can't participate. So that's also good.
All right. And I guess before we kick it over to the model train manufacturers, because I know we have a couple. Athern may have to leave shortly, so we got to squeeze him on. But anything else we want to cover before we switch it over to the model train manufacturers?
No, I think you covered it all. And thank you so much for plugging this baby, this 134-ton baby of ours.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Ken Jr. And I would just encourage everyone to reach out to us to get involved, to volunteer, or to request a free presentation and take the Rail Safety Pledge.
I want to congratulate and say thank you to all of the manufacturers that make a P42 for not only saying yes, but being super excited to, and in many cases, rearrange their production schedules to get this locomotive in. So when it comes to a special project like this, right, with licensing and everything, there's Amtrak's intellectual property and Operation Lifesaver's intellectual property. So it's two entities instead of just one. And, you know, we all worked, you know, together to say, yeah, we want to further this message of safety and to get it out there on models for sure. And all the manufacturers were fantastic in their response to say, yes, this is completely within, you know, what we want to do and to get it out there to the public. And I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing from everybody the updates to where we're at with all these, because I know there's been a lot of work behind the scenes to get these accurate to the real thing.
That's great. And that's a perfect segue, Matt. You know, this actual train is just so gorgeous. And what's amazing is the synergy between the model train manufacturers in our industry and Amtrak and now Operation Lifesaver, everyone coming together. And it's a lot of different parties, a lot of, you know, tape that you got to get through, and a lot of people have different preferences. So it's really amazing that all these different parties and entities came together to make this all happen. So with that being said, we're going to kick it off to Jim Wiggin from Athern Trains with a huge HO announcement.
Well, bigger than that, though, Ken, you know, the news that Jim has got. Everybody's got a congratulations that they need to give out to Jim.
Uh-oh.
He just got back from the city of New Orleans. And Jim, what was this trip for?
I got murdered.
Oh!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Jim was sweating. He didn't know what it was.
I was wondering. I'm like, boy, you know, I'm sure I got all that information up on the website last Friday. So,
wow, congratulations, Jim.
well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it was great because, like I said earlier, I just got back from New Orleans on Amtrak and saw some cool P42s. I did not see Operation Lifesaver, but it is on my to-do list of rail fanning for this summer. I'm really looking forward to it. And maybe if I'm lucky, when I go out east later this summer, maybe it'll be taking the charge. So, yeah, Athern is extremely excited to work with both Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver. When I first saw the prototype imagery, I was just blown away. It was, you can't not see this locomotive. It's such a bold statement, and it's excellent. It's the message that really needs to get across. You know, once you see tracks, think trains. It doesn't matter how rusty those rails look. If there's rails there, there's a possibility of a train. You got to beware. You got to be safe. And so we're really happy to be working with both Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver to offer this locomotive, the P42, in our Athern Genesis line. So it's our top of the line locomotive. It'll be available with both standard DC, or if you like, Tsunami 2 and DCC, so you can have the cool sound. And I got to say, I'm going to toot our horn a little bit. It was kind of cool being in the sleeper, hearing the GE's well-known whooping sound that it makes when the generator kicks in, and I can hear that same thing in the Tsunami too. So a lot of cool things to take from that. A lot of fun stuff. The other thing too that we've done, we introduced the Genesis series P42 a couple of years ago, and just recently last summer we worked with Amtrak to do the 50th anniversary sets, and now we're doing this run. But we've made some improvements to both the 50th anniversary as well as the current ones. They're going to have lit number boards, and we've worked on engineering that the windows will not only be more scale, but they'll fit much more properly. We're also updating our packaging. And Ken, I know with you being an online retailer, packaging is important for both you and the customers. We have made a commitment to make those locomotives transport easily and arrive at their destinations without any damage whatsoever. And this is certainly important for this special locomotive here today.
Now we're really talking about train safety on the rails and on the model train tracks.
Yep. Exactly.
Very cool.
And
so
Jim, I assume yours is going to have the bolted nose that you guys tooled up. There's a number of new things in your Genesis run, but
there's a couple of different things just on 203, since it is basically how you're going to see it in 2022. It's going to have the same features. So it's going to have the correct antenna array. It's going to have the bolted nose, which is more common with the P42s now. And the biggest thing, and this is where it's so important that we were able to work with both Operation Lifesaver and Amtrak, is that artwork. That is really, I don't know if anybody really realizes how hard sometimes it is to translate a scale paint scheme onto a model like that. And you heard Matt talk earlier about how complex that paint scheme is. And, as we're watching the video, myself being a custom painter from the past, I'm sitting there in my brain trying to figure out how would I mask that in 1/87 scale. And fortunately, I don't have to do that because our guys have been working with both Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver. And all you have to do as a customer is pre-order. You have until the end of May. So I think it's Friday the 27th. And you can pre-order one of these beauties. Just take it out of its package and let it earn its keep. But, this is going to be perfect for the modeler, especially the modeler that goes to train shows. If you're into the modular thing, this is going to be a showstopper. This is going to be one of the most exciting releases we've got this year.
Yeah, Jim, and I already put in a blanket order with Athern on these units, and the pre-orders already far surpassed my guess. So make sure you get your pre-orders in because the numbers are really high. I got to replace another order before the pre-order window closes out. We always try to order extra, but I'm assuming on any paint scheme on this type of engine is just going to be really hot. So make sure you get your pre-order in. Athern is making 2 units on this engine, one that's DCC ready and one that's DCC and sound. So you do have both options. And again, this is with their P42 tooling, really high end, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, really great stuff.
Yeah, and you're definitely going to want to pre-order these. When we came out with the Athern Genesis P42s a couple of years ago, they sold out quick, as you probably know. And those that didn't pre-order, they were anticipating our next release. With this one here specifically, you're going to want to pre-order because these type of paint schemes, especially what we're doing here with Operation Lifesaver and Amtrak, they're going to go quick. So just make it easy on yourself and pre-order.
That's great. And thank you so much, Jim Athern Trains, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you tuning in and joining us, because I know you guys got your own cast going on. So we appreciate us joining us for tonight. And congratulations.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for having Athern on board tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Matt and Rachel and Barb. We really enjoyed working with you guys, and look forward to seeing this in 1/87 scale.
Yeah, can't wait to see the samples. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
And Jim, does your girl like trains?
Well, she does now after the really great trip we had to New Orleans and back. So I got to say,
right.
she's hooked.
Okay.
I think we'll be doing a little bit more rail travel this coming year.
There you go.
It's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. We really appreciate it. So that's great. We got HO scale on board. Now we're going to switch it up with a different scale, and we'll come back with some other scales as well. Let's go over to Lionel Trains with Ryan, and we'll do something for O scale.
All right. Well, thank you, Ken. And as everyone else has said, thank you to the team from Operation Lifesaver and Amtrak for putting together another really wonderful locomotive. And this has been a lot of fun for us too. When we started to hear about what was coming down the line, and fortunately for us, the timing sort of just sneaked in there at the right moment for us to allow to make an announcement and bring it in with our current production run. So as Jim was just saying, orders we knew would be very strong, but to make sure we could get it built this year for everybody, we had to sort of take a guess ourselves and make a limited run of these. So I'm happy to announce from our end that as far as Lionel goes, we are sold out of the 203 of the 203 that we've made. So hopefully you've got pre-orders in with Train World and can pick this one up. I'm even more happy tonight, though, to find out that it's going to be around for a few years with some minor deco changes, which means there's a second run of these coming down the line, once we change some things around. So that's good to know. But this will remain the limited one then for the 50th anniversary year, which will always be something kind of special and cool. Let me share my screen here real quick and put up the Lionel version of this model. If I can find her here.
Yeah, I was trying to find it, Ryan, but we're actually already almost pre-sold out on this engine. When it does come in, we may have one or two spares, but unfortunately, we are no longer taking pre-orders on this engine. I mean, this was limited quantity. Really hot. It's just amazing, and that's why a lot of people have to pre-order these engines. It's just it goes so quickly.
Yeah.
And so our P40 P42 tooling is a semi-scale locomotive for O gauge. So it'll run on 3-rail O gauge track. It has it's condensed a little bit in size and has the swinging pilots and whatnot to allow it to navigate much tighter curve radius. 031, 036 curves are no problem for this thing. It's large enough that it will look good with some of the scale passenger cars as well as your semi-scale passenger cars. And this is in the Lion Chief Plus 2.0 line, which means you can run this with a conventional AC transformer. You can run this with your TMCC controller or legacy controller in TMCC mode, which is our Train Master Command control. For those not into O gauge, it's similar to DCC. And we also have Bluetooth on board this locomotive, so you can run it with an app on your phone or a universal remote. So you have lots of control options with this, however you want to run it and enjoy it. It features sounds, fan-driven smoke, full lighting effects, including the flashing ditch lights when you blow the horn, crew talk, horn, bell, engine sounds, the whole 9 yards. And as with everything we do with Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver, it is a real joy to work with them because they make sure we're able to get everything right. And the same thing that Jim was saying, it's as challenging as it is to do these things full scale. It's a feat to get it as accurate as possible in any size and miniature too. So we want to get the color spot on. We want to get the striping and the maskings all spot on, and we couldn't do that without the cooperation and all of the help that we get from Matt at Amtrak, from everyone who's helped us with Operation Lifesaver, and that's been a real blessing for us. And I know that will make the models for all of you that much better.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Ryan. Yeah, and that color is the yellow. You'd think that it'd be pretty easy, but it's not. I actually have a sample of the yellow from Beech Grove that they sprayed for me when we figured we were going to be doing models of these to match, right? Because it was the purpose of the yellow. It's an industrial paint, and it was chosen specifically to match the highway road signs, which are reflective. So depending upon the lighting conditions, that may change, right? So there is no direct translation to go from one to another. And then typically model manufacturers create custom paint mixes based off of print formulas, whether it's the RAL, or Pantone, the PMS matching system. So we were pulling our hair out, and I'm like, here's the actual color. And when you're looking at it, it actually has quite a bit of orange to it, but it doesn't look right when you scale it down to O, H, O, or N, just due to the scaling of color and a whole bunch of other factors, right? You're typically viewing it indoors under, fake lighting versus outside. And I think we've got it nailed down to look right, but literally if we took the same paint that was put on the real 203, people would say it's wrong. And it's just one of those challenges that I didn't appreciate completely until I started doing licensing with Amtrak, with all the major manufacturers. And it is, from one factory to another, you even find a difference. You find one formula that works well with one brand, and that you just go, it's one of those that'll make you pull your hair out. But everyone does a really good job of wanting to get it as exact as possible for that consistency, which as a brand manager, I love, right? We want the consistent. It's just not as easy as you'd think it should be.
Boy, Matt, I hope we can match it if we ever need to do any repainting. You're scaring me now.
Oh, that'll be easy. I mean, we know the spec, right? We know the spec for the 1-to-1. It's just trying to do it as a model is a whole nother world. It's not easy at all. There's a lot of manual trials and tribulations just to get what we feel is best, right? And you don't know till you see it. So the samples that everyone will be producing and coming out with will, be well worth their, their cost to make sure that it comes out right. So thank you, everybody on here, all 4 manufacturers with us tonight to get that right, because it's not easy at all.
This fascinates me listening to Ryan and you gentlemen, because I don't know how you do it. I know how we did it, and there were trials and tribulations. But how do you do it, Ryan, and those guys? Like, do you have pictures? How did you make it actually into a model? Diagrams? How'd you do it? I'm fascinated by it all.
Yeah, we work with as much information as we can. Information gathering is the most important part of it, and it often happens right up until the moment the factory starts building things, and every once in a while, even after they've started building them, we have to stop and change things. Right. Whenever we have cooperation like this with partners like all of you, it makes the job a lot easier, because we know, as Matt said, we know what it should look like. And having that versus going off of photographs online or our research libraries is a huge win. As Matt said, sometimes you still have to distort things a little bit to make it look right. As things scale down, certain details sometimes can't scale down quite as fine as they should, or colors can't scale down quite as well. There are some things that we have to make concessions for the models to be handled and operate as well. So on ours, a good example of that is, as I mentioned, it has a swinging pilot on it, which is not a prototypical feature, but in order to handle some of the tighter curves in the O gauge market, it's a nice add-in that allows these trains to go around smaller corners, because an O gauge model, even though it's 1/48th the size of the real thing, trying to build a whole railroad in your house, that can eat up a lot of space quickly. So tight curves are an advantage. And so there are things like that where we have to make some compromises in the details and the proportions just to make sure it'll operate the way that it should on a model railroad. And there are varying degrees. Each manufacturer takes that to different levels. Things that are designed more for hands-on play have a little more compromise than a higher end scale model. And I think what's really cool about this release here that we're seeing and talking about, and the group of manufacturers you've got who've been able to help out here, is you do see that whole range in the product line in different scales and in different levels of intensity for the person who wants a highly accurate model that they're going to sit on the shelf or maybe run occasionally on a very detailed and well-built model railroad, to someone who's going to be putting it on the floor and running it around the Christmas tree. And this locomotive is going to speak to all of those audiences. So it's great that we've got a wide net in the hobby to handle all of those interests. And no one of us could do it all by ourselves. So once we get all the information from you, it's a matter of doing artistic renderings. We've got a team of artists here at Lionel that do a wonderful job of taking prototype images or sometimes just fun ideas of our own and making them come alive in 2-dimension, and then translating that 2 dimensions into 3 dimensions, and then back and forth with you to make sure we've gotten it right. And then we work with the factories now from here on out to make sure that everything we've laid out gets designed and detailed the way that it was planned. And this locomotive will be a challenging one to mask and paint because of the many angles and contours. And you can't necessarily just wrap a piece of tape around it and spray it. When you've got all these different angles, you've got to make special masks and so forth, and it gets a little bit tricky to try and make sure that you don't get the bleed through and things just like on the real thing. So this will be a challenging one for us, but it's one we'll pull off for sure, and it's worth it.
And now, Ryan, this is first time, isn't it, for the Lionel? This, I think you announced this on an Amtrak show we did a year or so back. This is the first time release for this O-gauge model.
Yeah,
not just the Lifesaver one, but the whole run of P42s. This is a brand new model for Lionel's O-gauge.
Yes, we acquired this tooling from MTH about 2 years or so ago. We've made extensive changes to it from the MTH version, added a lot of features in there to improve its overall attributes, and we announced it for we announced the first one about a year ago in our catalog. On the 50th anniversary special last year, we had the special announcement of the anniversary paint schemes, and then this one followed along earlier this year after we had gotten everything done and everything approved with everyone that we knew it was right and ready to show. So in very short order, we've gone from having 0 P40s in our catalog to having, I believe, 9 or 10 of them out there now. And there are still more variations we have yet to do. So this has been a fun new one to add to the roster in our roundhouse. And I know we'll be making a lot more use out of this tooling down the road.
That's great, Ryan. And this seems like this is already going to be a collectible collector's piece, with 203 being made, 203 the engine number. So that's a really cool way to make the allocation, and already sold out at Lionel, and we're pretty much sold out here. So what a stunning unit, and people just went crazy once they started seeing the models. They just started ordering like crazy. It's just unbelievable.
I think it's a great program that, everybody who's in the hobby knows Operation Lifesaver, knows the mission, loves the mission, and hopefully is a champion of the mission when we're out trackside by ourselves or with others. And, Operation Lifesaver on a locomotive has been done in the past, but an Operation Lifesaver locomotive, this is a whole new ball game, and this paint scheme is just really striking.
Well said. Thank you so much, Ryan, Lionel Trains, for being on tonight. We really appreciate the support, and let's kick it off to back to a smaller scale, and we'll keep on switching it up on you to make you guys guess, but we'll switch it to Michael from Kato Trains.
All right. Hopefully you can hear me. I think I unmuted myself properly. I felt my ears burning a little bit earlier, Matt, when you were talking about all the trials and tribulations of working out paint colors and the like for these engines, because I know you and I always seem to be going back and forth on those. Those of you who don't know, I do a lot of the sort of the paint design and layouts for Kato engines. So anytime we're doing anything Amtrak, I'm sending stuff over to Matt, and usually going back and forth with like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, or well, this doesn't really work when you make it like this big. So, Kato has announced the Operation Lifesaver, the Unit 203 engine for both HO and N scale. The N scale, the HO version is actually coming first. It's going to be arriving this summer. So shipping schedules notwithstanding, obviously things are getting a little dicey on the ocean as far as whether things take 1 to 3 months, but we're expecting that fairly shortly. We finished up artwork for that. I don't know if I can share this or not. I've got a little. Oh, I want to share this. Yeah, this is our latest, our last artwork design from our factory. You can kind of see where, we're also trying to work around this, a two-dimensional shape kind of emblazoned onto a three-dimensional model is always going to be tricky. So, we take it very seriously, and we know Matt takes it very seriously, and we appreciate, I especially appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Having your cooperation, Rachel, and, I forgot her name. That's terrible.
Jennifer on my
Jennifer,
team.
yes,
Yeah.
Jennifer, of course.
Yeah.
Her help as well. It's been really great working with you guys on this. We definitely wanted to make this model as soon as we saw it. Just the striking that black and yellow is just amazing. Conveniently enough, we were running the Amtrak 50th anniversary units, and conveniently enough, it is now 50th anniversary of Operation Lifesaver. So everything, it's all connected.
Yep.
So that's kind of a nice bit of happenstance there, I guess, maybe, or maybe not. But so the HO version we're expecting this summer. The N scale one closer to probably about autumn, coming around a little bit before our model of the ALC 42, which we haven't announced yet, but you can look for that soon. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking my bosses. I had to specifically unblur the background of my image because I knew he would be doing this at some point. So he's got to do his due diligence.
Look at that shameless product placement.
He's got to do his due diligence. My name is kind of covering up my logo here, but
that's perfect.
For those who don't know, the HO model from Kato USA, it's definitely one of our more unique and one of the engines we're most proud of in HO. It's got a very unique designed mechanism where it's got a removable truck, which is like the motors are actually inside the truck, so it's got dual drives. The actual body of the mechanism, the body of the engine is mostly metal, so this thing weighs a ton. It can haul just about as many superliners as you can throw at it. So it'd be perfect for any layout, really. And it's also designed so that it can go around, I believe, 15-inch radius curves. That was a big thing from the very beginning. What they wanted, the designers wanted to make it, as sort of as universally usable on as many layouts as possible. So yes, those who are asking who's the dude with my flag? That's our vice president. That's my boss. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we're really excited for this engine. We're in N scale, we're about 75% sold through our production. In HO, we're about 45% sold through.
Wow.
Which are it's good.
And it'll go perfectly with your new HO Viewliner 2 baggage car, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
HO
Beautiful.
V-Liner 2s, we've got new runs of the HO Superliners, which are actually arriving just later this month, which I'm sure Ken and Co. will be happy to sell everybody watching.
And so just a recap on the N scale version of Kato's P42, if I could just chime in. So you actually have a couple of different unique ways of selling your engines, a little bit of something for everyone. So you have DCC ready, I believe also DCC as well, and then also DCC and sound. So
Correct.
3 different ways. And then also on the HO, so both HO and N scale, Kato will be coming out with. The N scale, they did announce it a little longer ago, so HO is more recent, and that's probably the skew in percentage-wise. But both very beautiful engine. If you're not familiar with Kato, they are known to be just very smooth runners and never have rarely any issues with them, just really great running engines. But this paint scheme will be sure to be a winner for both HO and N scale for Kato.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the HO we only announced in March, so it's been about 2 months since we announced it. And the response has been great. We're really excited to be able to bring that out so soon. I want to try and get it while the engine's out there making a splash. We want to be right there alongside it as best we can.
That's great. Tony, you're going to have a lot to cover.
There is, and Kato's been very busy. That new HO baggage car is fantastic looking. I just got a sample of that before I left for this trip down to Texas, and the finish on it is just unbelievable. It really looks great. So that's one thing about Kato stuff. All of it, it's almost artwork. As you take it out of the box, it's so nicely put together. The assembly and everything, it's great stuff. So it definitely will be a nice piece. And Michael, is the P42 an N scale? Is that new tooling? I know my assistant editor would be furious at me that I don't know that, but is that new?
It is not. And also, I just want to rewind just a little bit. Since you mentioned samples, before I get too much egg on my face, Matt, I will absolutely get those samples off to you in the mail tomorrow. Sorry, it's been busy.
Michael, he's been complaining about it for days.
Not even true. Not true at all. But thank you. And Tony, I was going to say, I really enjoyed, you had so much good coverage in Model Railroad News of Amtrak's 50th with the Charger locomotives and all the other awesome models that so many manufacturers are coming out with. And I even enjoyed that issue where you had the history of the 4316, which was a really good picture of how far this hobby has come. That doesn't even classify as a model to me. That's a toy, right? That's like a stand-in kind of sort of close enough. And here we are, 4 different major manufacturers in 3 different scales doing a locomotive. I mean, literally details. And you saw what the drawing that Michael shared, right? Looking at where the step well is and how do we get this. That, I mean, the other locomotive wasn't even the right color, for crying out loud. It was silver instead of black.
When you think about it, Matt, that is fantastic. Yeah, 50 years shows you what the hobby has done. That 50 years ago, that was a Tyco F9 you're talking about, that they just painted silver and kind of wrapped the Amtrak logo around the nose, so it wasn't even the right locomotive. Nothing related to the detail was correct. The paint wasn't correct, but at the time, that was it.
That came, right?
That came out.
On Ken Jr.'s shirt.
Yes, if you wanted that for Christmas in 1972. It was the Tyco intercity train set was it, with nothing about it being correct. Yet look at this now. It's, well, how many different ones do you want? And they're all going to be out. They're all amazingly correct. The features, it's incredible when I think about it.
Yeah, we're lucky. Yeah. I'm thrilled to help as best I can all the different manufacturers with producing the Amtrak model. They're just hearing that there's an option if you don't want sound. We got 2 different types of sound. I mean, it's like just hearing all those features when, not all that long ago when I was, growing up in the hobby, and it was, you'd be lucky to try and put together a replica of an Amtrak train and just get the right cars, let alone the right schemes on it. It would just be, okay, here's a stand-in close enough. And now we've got, superliners, we've got viewliners, we've got all the stuff that's out there for anybody, young or old, that wants to model present day Amtrak. It is pretty darn easy. But I did see someone, Michael, was getting on you guys about doing the other viewliners. So hopefully those are in the works soon.
Hopefully.
No pressure at all.
No pressure. Definitely. Why would I expect pressure about Amtrak stuff in a room full of Amtrak people talking about Amtrak stuff?
It's only on my wall right here behind me. That's okay.
All right. Very good. Well, we're looking forward to seeing all that product, Michael.
Yeah, and so are we. And I think you guys will all really like it. I didn't have a chance to answer your question fully, Tony. The N scale P42 is not going to be new tooling. It is the existing tooling that we've done. The HO one does have the bolted nose design. I shouldn't have turned the blur on, but it does have the bolted nose design. The N scale doesn't. Nothing's perfect, but.
Well, the good thing, I'm getting older and I typically wear glasses. So the older you get, the less detail you can see. And in N scale, everything's so tiny anyways. You don't, right?
That's true.
I hear you.
All right. So last but not least of the model train manufacturers announcing product in this legendary engine and paint scheme livery, the combination of Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver is Atlas. Drew, how you doing? Take it away, buddy.
I'm doing good, Ken. Hey, everybody. It's kind of fitting. The last time I was on here, we were talking about the Premier Winter Catalog and all our P42s in the Amtrak 50th anniversary schemes. And the live show before that, I was on here with Rachel, Operation Lifesaver, and we were talking about their 50th anniversary. So, of course, it makes sense. Third time, we got to mash them all together.
That's right. Thank you, Drew. You were the first one out of the gate with our 50th. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's kick it over to the slideshow here. We have the Premier P42 in O scale. So we're offering this in both 3-rail and 2-rail. This will come with proto sound. It has prototypical Rule 17 lighting, which I'm sure all of the guys in here can explain to you what that is. Illuminated number boards, lighted marker lights, operating ditch lights. These come equipped with 2 precision flywheel-equipped motors, proto smoke diesel exhaust. They will have cab figures. The 3-rail is good, can work on 031 curves, and has a remote control proto coupler. And then the 2-rail option will have a fixed pilot and an Atlas scale coupler. And we're going to see these in late fall 2022.
Beautiful.
And Drew, I've gotten emails on that, and I know I've asked you on that one too. That 2-rail, that was one of the first things I had modelers asking. Well, is it just going to be a 2-rail version of the same kind of the 3-rail with the swinging pilots? But there's no pictures or anything yet for that 2-rail, but it is why it'll have tooling that I guess the back and front ends will be fixed to the model more prototypically.
Yeah. So we actually, I think I was just talking to the R&D guys today. We just approved the new tooling for the fixed pilots. So, and then we had to update the couplers to fit the Atlas diecast coupler. So yeah, it'll have a fixed pilot and a scale coupler. And both will have Proto Sound 3 DCS.
That's awesome. Looks really sharp.
Yeah, we're excited about this. Atlas is sold out on this run, but I believe Kenny might have some more. So you might have to check with him very soon. He might just have a handful left.
Yeah, so it's amazing, everybody. If you're into O scale, make sure you get your pre-order in very soon. And if it's not even with us, just a regular local retailer, if they have any, we actually were able to squeeze in just a couple of more units on this Atlas engine, but it probably won't last long. And if I check out the numbers tomorrow, most likely will be close to sold out or close to being oversold. So get your order in as soon as possible. There's not many left on these, but a great looking Sharp unit. And this is the premier version. So really high detail, beautiful looking engine. Just a really nice paint scheme.
Yeah, 1/48 scale. It's a scale model. So,
Right.
and then also I just wanted to bring up the Operation Lifesaver GP40s and the matching cabooses that we did in conjunction with OLI. They helped, they came up with the design for these, and we were able to get them made. So we're offering these in both N and HO, as you can see here. They come with the GP40 will be available with ESU sound, or in silver. The silver model is sound ready or DCC ready, which it has a speaker and everything. So if you want to upgrade it to sound, it's really simple to do in the silver line. And then the Trainman caboose, the CNO Coppola caboose as well, to match that the GP40.
I got to go check my pre-orders now, Ken, because I know I have the HOG 40 ordered, but this caboose is now bothering me. I don't know if I got that ordered from you. I got to check on that. It's like, oh, I'm not sure that I got that reserved yet.
Yeah,
All right, Tony.
the caboose was just announced earlier this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was recently announced, and thank God, Tony. I thought you were going to say, "Ken, I need you to do me a favor to squeeze me in on these
Find me
scale
one.
units."
Find me one.
But,
no, I already got one ordered.
Right.
I'm set.
And for those of you who are married for a long time, if you get to your 50th anniversary, which I hope you do, the color is gold, which is why we went with the gold locomotive in the caboose.
Very cool.
So
That's so cool.
it's an easy reminder.
Very neat. And Atlas is pretty much sold out on the O scale version of the caboose. So I need to be very careful with my numbers over here. So make sure if you are interested, get them in tonight. It's that important. A lot of sales going on anything Operation Lifesaver, and also this Amtrak Operation Lifesaver special 203 locomotive. So really neat stuff. And Atlas, Drew, thank you guys so much for joining us and showing us what you guys have to offer.
And we also have that caboose and locomotive in 3-rail as well, in O scale. So don't want to forget that one.
Yes. 3-rail and 2-rail.
The GP40 and the caboose are just available in 2-rail.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Which, if you want to share my screen, you can see those.
Oh, hold on. There you go.
We just got the sample in of the caboose today.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I
That
just
looks great.
I grabbed a picture of it before I left
Should
the
have
office.
started with that.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. So we're excited about those products as well.
That's
Jared
awesome.
probably emailed you, said, "You got to get this on the screen, Drew."
I was just about to walk out at the end of the day, and I saw it on the desk. I was like, "Oh, I better grab a picture of it for tonight." So.
Yeah.
That's great. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Drew.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ken.
All right. Wow. What an action-packed and episode. But we have one more. Tony Cook. Let's go over, we'll let you chime in and go over some reviews and what you think and what you got coming up with.
It's fantastic stuff, and there's so much of it coming out. Now I'm giving this away this evening. This is our new White River hardcover book. It just came out, 50 Years of Amtrak Trains. I've got a copy to give away. And Ken, what we need something for somebody to answer, trivia-wise or something. And I'm trying to think now. I don't have anything great. I was supposed to have a question ready.
Yeah.
So,
I got one.
Okay.
Hope any Amtrak fan should know this right away. It would be, what year did Amtrak first start operations? Actually, what day, month, and year? They should know all of that.
There you go. Day, month, and year. What was Amtrak's first day, and then what? Ken, put your state in the name.
Yes, put your state in the name so we know where you are, where we could ship it, and we'll pick out a winner.
But that is brand new from White River. And then we also have Amtrak by the Numbers, a second version of that hardcover book, which is a roster of all passenger cars, all locomotives that Amtrak's operated through its first 50 years. And this new version will not only be expanded and updated, but if you have the first version, virtually all of the pictures will be different. So if you're like, well, I'd like to get it, but it's just going to have some updates, so maybe I won't. All the pictures are being redone. So
my wallet.
A completely new selection of pictures. And I wanted to share, this is what I did for Sunday was National Train Day. And this is the Empire Builder heading eastbound and well, when I left Kansas City to come down to Texas, it was like cold and chilly and like 40 degrees. And I'm thinking, but it's May. When are we going to have some good weather? So I took the dog out Sunday afternoon and I got a new Lincoln for this trip. 95 degrees, heat and humidity. Wow. Suddenly, wow, it was summertime. But here is train number 2, the Sunset Limited, rolling back Sunday afternoon on National Train Day past the restored, preserved little railroad park there in Flatonia, Texas. That's about 120 miles west of Houston, Texas. And there's a train in the afternoon. Beautiful to see it go flying through the town there. But awesome. I hope everybody got out and did some stuff for National Train Day. And I did look at that, just a couple of plain P-42s that no special liveries at all, but how fantastic to see them. But this book here, it is. What's that first day for Amtrak? And put your state in there. We'll pick out a winner, and Ken Jr. will get me that information, and I'll send you out a copy of this book. It's fantastic. I think I even have a picture in this book. I have a shot in Kansas City of one of the new Simmons units. So really awesome stuff. And this month has Amtrak on the cover. Model Railroad News' May edition has the day 1 unit, which is so spectacular. And again, this has become a whole industry. You could, I think we're going to have to start a second magazine of just Amtrak Railroad News monthly, because there's so much stuff. I mean, between the special paints and everything else, that I'm going to need a whole new wing in my collection to start stacking the models up. But it's awesome stuff.
Well, I'd be okay with that. And what I am surprised to hear, I have an original copy of the Amtrak by the Numbers book. And it is like my Bible. It is my go-to for historic. What was this car originally? What is this number? It's got fantastic roster information, the stuff that is really hard to come by anywhere else. But now that the photos are different, I'm going to have to order the new version.
The president of White River, Kevin U. Daly, was doing the layout on it, and we talked a week or so ago, and he said, I'm doing all new pictures. He thought, well, as long as we're relaying it out, let's just change all the pictures out. I'm like, wow, that's a great reason to have another copy.
Yeah,
that's why the guy's the president, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that is perfect. It's going to go on my. I'll put it either on Father's Day or my birthday list. That's for sure. My family's all, you're too hard to buy for. Well, there we go. Amtrak by the Numbers, easy.
It is such a great reference. I literally have at my desk back in Missouri a two-thing bookcase. And I've got various roster books and other things, and that book is always right there. That way, if I'm working on something, I can just pull it out. And as you say, you can look something up, find out the year it was built. If it's a heritage passenger car, it'll tell you that was a Seaboard Coastline originally. I mean, it's a fantastic reference.
Even with the Amfleet cars were renumbered what seems like a million times due to the multiple different interior configurations in the early years. Now it's a bit more simple, but to trace that back, what car was this and that, and what's a prototypical road number for this period of time for a dinette. And I don't have all that memorized, right? And that book has been a lifesaver when it comes to some of those off the wall questions that I get.
That's
very
great.
Neat, very neat.
And Tony, that's a great value, because the book itself that you're raffling off is, detailed. The photos are amazing, so really great. And I already see a couple of winners, so tomorrow morning we'll go through them, we'll pick out some winners. But I think Amtrak, and Matt, you kind of mentioned something in a private chat, and if you want to throw it out there.
I did. So for all the fans that have stuck with us here to to the what is it, hour and a half mark almost through. The ball cap that I've got on is one of our 100% made from recycled material baseball caps. Amtrak is very proud to do its part with sustainability, not only just with passenger train travel being more sustainable than traveling by automobile and many other modes of transportation, but this is a cool new product. It's an adjustable size. And we'd be happy to make that available to one of our fans who's on the chat. So what should we do for that one, Barb, to have somebody be eligible for Ken to come up with somebody to pick one?
Wow. I'm trying to think.
How about let's see here. What month and year did the 203 go into operation? We won't put a day. That'll be a little hard. I don't want to be too cruel. But what month and day did the 203 go into operation?
That's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah, I don't even know that.
Come on, Barb. You're so full.
I don't even know
baloney. You know that.
You mean the press conference the day we announced it?
Well, I don't need to. No, just the month and year. Month and year. We're not doing the day. Month and year.
That it was built?
No, that it went into revenue operation service. That the first trip it made is a train. And with the OL paint, the 203. Sorry, I need to be more
hat
clear.
for you, Barb. No
This
hat.
is what it's like. You guys are getting an inside view of what it's like in these meetings when we're trying to design
No. Come up with something else. An Amtrak trivia question. Come on.
All I know is I'm going to be so confused tomorrow trying to pick out winners.
Okay, who was the first Amtrak president? No, bad.
Oh,
I mean, we already got people throwing out dates for.
yeah, I see. You've got people that do know. Yeah,
I think if you've got something else, Barb, we'll do that. The first Amtrak president, but
First Amtrak president, and look, I have T-shirts, smalls and mediums.
Oh, that's where all the shirts went. You bought them all?
Excuse me, I'm holding them. I have smalls and mediums. If you want to throw this in as a gift as well, I'm willing to mail it, Ken, to you, and you take care of it.
And Ken Jr. will also do a little 50th anniversary trivia gift too. And I'm actually going to think of a good question for Operation Lifesaver as well.
Okay.
So, good one.
But before we get to the Operation Lifesaver raffle, I just want to square this away. So with the Amtrak raffle, we're doing the first Amtrak president and also the date, or we're not doing the date.
We were going to do. I'll let you pick, Ken, because you're the one that we'll get you the stuff. I can get you the month and year, or we can just do everything as the first Amtrak CEO, president CEO.
Well, since you have the hat and then also the shirt, so maybe we'll just do two raffles for Amtrak. One's the first Amtrak CEO. The other was the first date of existence you mentioned, or
first train that it the month and year that it first ran on a train. And I'll give people a hint. It was the train that it had to leave out of Beech Grove to go to Chicago on.
Okay.
And that's it. No more hints.
I don't know that one, so you're gonna have to tell me.
I'll email you.
Nobody knows it. Don't worry. Nobody knows. We don't know it either. I don't know that you know it. I don't know.
Tony, do you know it?
I think I could even nail the date, maybe.
Really?
Unless it's the press conference date, but yeah.
It's it's tough. It's tough.
But I see a lot of people here in the comments. There's a lot of people who've gotten the year. They're correct on when 203 made its first run in Operation Lifesaver. So yeah, I've seen a lot of winners. And same with, I'm surprised how many Roger Lewis's I saw. Now that I just gave you the answer to who was Amtrak's first. That's impressive. Yeah. And he came from, Matt, didn't he come from an airline, right?
I believe he did.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how and why, but yeah, how interesting is that? But yeah.
Oh my God.
Dave Smith knows
Crazy.
that. If you're watching, Dave, put it in the chat.
Yeah. All right. Lots of good responses. So first Amtrak CEO and the month of the year of repeat the question again one more time, Matt.
All right. So the first train at the 203 in the Operation Lifesaver paint as it exists today, that it rolled on, not that it led on, just that it operated on to get out of Beech Grove to Chicago. That was the route that it went on. It was his first rolling down the rails on an Amtrak train. What month and year was that?
Okay, perfect.
That's a hard one.
So we got those two nailed down. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll pick out a winner. And once I get the answer myself, but we also have Rachel who chimed in as well, and she wants to raffle off something great as well. So Rachel, what is the question?
I'm actually taking a quick look at my phone to see if anyone from staff has sent me a question, a lifeline. So I've got two questions. I have two questions also. One is, what is Operation Lifesaver's rail safety message on the 203? And the second one is, tell me how and where Operation Lifesaver was started 50 years ago.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Had to make it a little easy and a little hard, right? And a little confusing, like you and Matt and Barb.
One more
if
time.
Anyone can get details down right, it is the model railroading community.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
One more time, Rachel, so I could write this down in my notes so I could keep up.
So what is the first question? What is the Operation Lifesaver theme logo, if you will? Not the decorative, but tagline. What is the Operation Lifesaver tagline on the Amtrak locomotive? And then the second one is, tell me how and where Operation Lifesaver started 50 years ago.
That's a good one. And Rachel, I don't know if you told that story or if I found that after that time we did a live, because that's ringing a bell, but I don't remember that. I've got to look that up, but I do remember you mentioning that once.
Very good.
Yep.
Wow, we're just giving away product here. I think all of our bosses are going to fire us by tomorrow with all the product we gave away tonight. But very good. Excellent. And I want to thank everyone out there for joining tonight. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the manufacturers, Lionel, Athern, Kato, Atlas, for joining us tonight. And this could not have been done without Amtrak and Operation Lifesaver. So big kudos and hats off to everyone on the panel tonight. We really appreciate it. This was really excellent. And what's so amazing about this event is just the synergy between the model train industry and the actual trains on the rail. It's just amazing working together. And the first time we did this event with Amtrak, it was just like unbelievable. And then we, started to do that with Operation Lifesaver. So it's just snowballed into really great events, working with everyone in the industry. So we really appreciate everyone on tonight's Aircast. So with that being said, I want to thank you everyone for joining on tonight. All these models that you did see, you could buy them at trainworld.com. We are carrying them, but make sure you check the actual train out. Make sure you check out OLI.org. Is it? Yeah. OLI.org. Make sure you go to the Amtrak store merchandise page to get those shirts. I'm sure they're going to be hot, and also the hats as well. And thank you all. With that being said, I'll turn it over to everyone if there's any last minute comments.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Thank
Another
you.
great show. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you,
Always a
Ken.
pleasure.
You're the best.
Yeah, I
Thank
just
you,
wanted
Ken.
to thank you for having us all on here, and thanks to Matt and Rachel for taking and Barb taking your time and joining us, especially.
Thanks. It's been a blast, everyone.
Awesome.
It's so neat
Appreciate
to
it.
know that there's fun people like this on the railroad side, isn't it, Ken? I mean, we've known Matt, I've known Rachel, but now I met Barbara. It's like there's all these cool people, because I always think that, well, we're all nuts because we like trains. But do you think the people that work there, it's like, oh, but this is so cool.
No,
We're family, Tony. It's like that everywhere. We're family.
Yeah.
without a doubt. Barbara said it correctly. It feels like family. It just feels natural. And I appreciate everyone for joining and being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having
Take
us.
care, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.